Hello everyone, my name is Cybill Sixpence and I want to show you how I built this beautiful Swampy Potion Brewery house. It's not as hard as it looks, though it does have a lot of materials. Here is your materials list. Pause it, go find you a place to build. Let's get started. You will need a large space for this, so terraforming may be necessary. I am doing a little bit of terraforming, and then I'm going to be using some water to clear out the grass and the dead sticks and stuff that spawned in naturally into my little space here. So once I have that cleared out, we'll have ourselves a floor plan. The space necessary for this build is a 19 by 21, but ultimately it is 2 rectangles. And I do remove the little inside portion right there because it's not intended. My front porch and my foundation is made with mud brick. And then I'm going to go around with 2 layers of different types of sandstone. My primary wall here is made with cut sandstone and sandstone. And then I'm filling in for texture with suspicious sand and smooth sandstone. I'm using a combination of spruce and dark wood as my support beams around the house, because I would imagine that if I'm building in the swamp, the land is so saturated with water, the water is just pooling into the log. And then I'm going to cover my porch with campfires and trim that with acacia gates and fencing. I am going to begin my outline to my roof with some dark oak stairs and dark oak planks. I'll be doing that all the way around the house, and then I'm going to fill in my roof with a combination of green wool, green terracotta, green concrete, moss, watermelon, warped stem, and warped planks. I start in the corners of each of the roof trim with my darkest color, and as I'm building up gradually, I'm choosing lighter and lighter shades of green until I get into cyan. And then of course when I finish, I take a good look back and make sure it's exactly the way that I want, because I do go back and I adjust when I see that there is too much of a specific color or it's not blended down enough. As you are building your house, it may not look specifically perfect to mine. You blend it the way that you want, so if you want a specific color to be more dominant than the other, you just fill that right on in. Adjust as you want. This is your house. These giant roof end ornaments are just made with combinations of stairs in the dark oak because that's my trim, but if you chose a different trim, just do it in the trim that you chose, and then just make the other side as equal as possible, just mirroring the same side. On my 2 smaller parts of the house, I chose to make a different type of end ornament, and they're also just a simple combination of stairs. Play around with it. The combination of upside down and reverted and inverted stair placements makes things so much fun. This part is totally optional. I only did this to the front part of the house, but I decided to pull out that roof for a dramatic effect. To get the effect, every time I reached the stair portion of the roof trim, I doubled it and then continued upwards each time. When I got to the top, I put in my roof end ornament and continued on with adding the spruce log trims around the house at each portion. Upon deciding where I wanted my little tower at, I always start at the top of the roof because that tells me exactly where I need to bring it down at. I decided to trim my roof with some slabs and then dress up my fixtures with some acacia gates. Here I'm going to dress up my roof with some hoppers and some deep cobblestone wall and some iron fencing. I do make a light fixture off the front of my house using grindstones. I think I used 3 of them with a chain and a lantern. For my roof here on top of my tower, I'm using a combination of slabs and stairs to give it that arch. I make sure that I am going up and down using my stairs, and then I'm going to fill in that space with the same combination of green and cyan blocks, starting with the green wool and then moving up with the concrete and the moss, and then topping it off with the cyan stairs. I do also decorate the tips of that with some acacia gate fencing. I did plug in some windows, but we'll come back to that soon. I'm going to take advantage of my extended roofing here to add in a balcony. I am using acacia for my flooring and I'm trimming it with acacia fences. I do like the Tudor look that the striping can give by combining 2 different types of wood type. Here I am combining oak and jungle, and I know that jungle's pattern is a little wonky, but I have learned that if I place my jungle sideways, the pattern lines up a lot better than it did when you just stack them up as a regular tree. I'm going to go around the house and put a double layer of stairs under my support beams to support my support beams, and then dress that up with a barrel underneath all of that. Finishing it with my windows here, which I will come back to momentarily, and adding in an acacia floor here to match the top floor. Okay, so now for the windows, I'm going to trim each one with some sandstone stairs on each of them, and then I'm just echoing the same thing all the way around the house. I add a trap door over each of the windows so that I can close my windows if I wanted to, and I'm using green stained glass on the bottom. I'll come back later and I'll put orange glass at the top to give it a warmth feeling, and then adding in some shutters for some decoration. On both sides of my upstairs, I'm going to use this framework with acacia stairs and slabs and acacia gates, and then using planks and stairs and acacia gates around the edging of the window. Echo the same window concept here in this tower, where I'm going to be using stairs to frame them out, and then instead of using a glass, I'm just going to use a trap door on the inside between the 2 stairs, and then a trap door so I can close the window, and then I'm just decorating it with some signs and some buttons. This lonely little back half is going to get a special treatment. It's going to have its own little garden hanging off with some leaves, not necessarily with flowers this time, but some dark leaves, a combination of leaves, and then still trimming it out with some planks and some stairs and some acacia gates. The bottom side is also going to be decorated with some acacia gates and some dark oak stairs and some barrels. As mentioned earlier, I'm going to come in here with some iron gates and just line the roof. Since this is a brewery house, I can imagine there being a giant cauldron in the front. So I put some whole sand down in the front, and then I'm going to line a walkway that goes from the front porch all the way to the cauldron. In the cauldron, you just simply put in some water. Of course, it'll bubble. You can add things like pufferfish to add that extra splash. I'm going to go around the house. I'm going to trim it with some dead bushes and dead coral, and then hit the ground a few times with some bone meal. Nothing specifically fancy about my lantern, but I just put some lighting here so that we can see what we're doing in the dark. Now I'm going to go around the house with some spruce leaves. I'm going to add some bushes all the way around just so that it gets that overgrown feel. Everything looks like it's coming along really well, so I'm going to work on this balcony right here. So this balcony, I'm going to continue to use some of the acacia for trimming out with planks and stairs, and then also acacia fence gating. Give that a real lacy look, I think. Just for some detail, I add some warp signs along the edge of the acacia flooring. So now for the garden area. So I'm going to add in a very small, sparse garden of watermelon. I'm going to add in pumpkin because of the environment, and I think our potion brewer would like to have some wheat, so I'm going to throw in some wheat into our little garden area as well. Come back in and sprinkle in some sugar cane along the edge as much as I can. Everything is looking fine, so adding in a small dock because we are in the swamp and this is our transportation. The dock is made with some spruce trap doors, some acacia fence, and dark oak logs. So now, after a long day of collecting mushrooms, killing spiders, and going to the nethers for some wart, I think our potion brewer is ready to come home and make all the potions that the rest of us need to make our journey more enjoyable. So tell me what you think. Would you build this in your world? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon!